So this woman, let's call her White Girl, because that's literally what everyone calls her. So somehow, White Girl, this young woman from an upper-class suburb, nearly becomes a Philadelphia drug kingpin. So White Girl is a club promoter, she's cool, she's popular, and she's really good at her job working in the nightlife scene. So she's always at a lot of parties, and occasionally, while at these parties, she participates in doing a drug that we'll just call Coca-Cola. And one day, White Girl is at a party, and an acquaintance of hers asks her if she wants to make a little extra money on the side while she's out working the nightlife scene. Basically, they want to know if she wants to sell Coca-Cola. And White Girl's like, alright. And so, bam, she starts slanging that Coca-Cola to anyone who will buy it. And to White Girl's surprise, she's actually pretty good at it. I mean, she's already a club promoter throwing parties for everyone, so I guess at these parties, she's just like, hey, wanna buy a little something? And so the money starts rolling in, and White Girl keeps going, and she keeps getting more and more involved with her growing connections in the nightlife scene. And that is where everyone starts calling her the White Girl. Because if you're out at a club on Saturday night in Philadelphia and you want some Coca-Cola, you hit up the White Girl. And so this hustle goes on for years, and it works really well for her. And White Girl is making bank. And she's moving kilos of Coca-Cola, and she's living the good life. And as she continues to sell more and more, she works her way up to near kingpin status. It's actually pretty impressive. Until it all falls apart. Because one day, her business partner in all this, he sets up a very interesting opportunity for her. He's like, hey, I know a dude in Texas with a ton of Mexican Coca-Cola, and he wants us to help him expand into the Philadelphia market. And White Girl's like, sweet bro, let's do it. And soon enough, a delivery truck is headed from Texas to White Girl's apartment in Philadelphia, carrying around 12 kilos of pure Mexican Coca-Cola. But here's where it all goes wrong. Soon enough, a rival group of Coca-Cola dealers, they get word that White Girl is about to have 12 fat kilos in her apartment. And they're like, oh, hell no, not on my turf. Particularly, this guy is mad about it. Everyone calls him Pooh. So Pooh decides, nah, we are gonna roll up to White Girl's apartment and we are gonna straight up rob her. So then, soon enough, the night the shipment arrives, Pooh and another goon, they go to White Girl's building. And they go up to her apartment on one of the upper floors and they break in. And pretty quickly, they discover, oops, my bad, we're in the wrong apartment. So they leave. But Pooh, he doesn't want to give up. He really wants to get his hands on that Mexican Coca-Cola. So he hits up a few more goons to come and help him out. And then later that same day, they all go back to White Girl's building to try to break in again. And Pooh, he waits outside in the getaway van while the other three goons, they go up to the 7th floor. And there, they wait outside the elevator for White Girl to get home. A couple of hours later, White Girl gets home, and she gets back to her building, and she's with this other guy. His name's Timothy, and she and Timothy, they ride the elevator up, and they step off walking toward her apartment. And then suddenly, bam, they're surrounded by 3 goons, and they're all pointing pew-pews at them. And they're like, give us all that Coca-Cola! And White Girl, she's not prepared for any of this, and she's like, take whatever you want! But Timothy, he's got other plans, and he's like, hell no! And he lunges toward one of the goons, and he tries to grab his pew-pew. And then there's a struggle back and forth, and then bang, 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 bang! And the goon shoots Timothy 4 times in the back. And then one of the other goons, I guess he panics, and he points his pew-pew at White Girl, and blam, he shoots her right in the head, and she falls to the floor, and she's unalived instantly. Then that same goon looks at Timothy, who's down on the floor, and he points his pew-pew at him, and he fires. Bang! Finishing him off too. And now, with 2 unalived people on the floor in front of them, there's nothing the goons can do but run. So they all 3 run downstairs and out of the building, and they jump into the getaway van with Pooh, and they leave the scene completely empty-handed. So pretty quickly, with all the gunfire and whatnot, police are on the scene, and they go and they search White Girl's apartment, and they find about $400,000 worth of Coca-Cola and more than $100,000 in cash. So they immediately know, yeah, this was all drug-related. And they question some of the people in the building, including this one woman who was friends with the goons and who had let them into the building so that they could pull off this robbery. And they get a search warrant, and they search this woman's phone records, and those phone records lead them directly to Pooh and the other goons. Plus, not to mention, the entire crime was recorded on the many security cameras around the building. So, they were pretty much always fucked. And so, bam, they arrest Pooh. Here's his mugshot. And they also arrest every other goon who helped with the robbery. Here are their mugshots. And they arrest the woman who let them into the building. Here's her mugshot. And eventually, they all go to court, and they're all found guilty, and Pooh is sentenced to life in prison. And the three goons, they're also sentenced to life in prison. And one of the other goons gets a minimum of 6 years, and one of the other goons, and the woman who let them into the building, they get off with time served and probation. So, shout out to Pepsi, I guess.